Let's do this.
It's 10 o'clock. We'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have a motion to approve today's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Update, Dustin. Anything new?
We're working on main line still, getting down to the basement. Got most of them done. Should be having well drillers on site, I think, next week. That was just kind of his rough estimate, so sometime next week is what they were thinking. He said the 24th. I don't know when that would be, and then they're thinking about maybe coming up on a Saturday and getting some stuff in the basement done. So, we've got electricians on site, spray foamers, and insulators for ductwork. So we've got a lot of people running around and getting kind of busy. So try and keep ahead of things and get stuff done. So
Good.
Spray foam is taking a little longer than they anticipated.
The cold weather's they were hoping it's going to be a little bit warmer, so it's kind of going slow. It's been going a lot faster this week. So, and they've ran into a few things there. They're kind of going at it. It's kind of a challenge, so a little more challenging than what they thought it was going to be. So, but hopefully by the end of this week, they're getting pretty close to being done. So, they're moving along pretty well right now. So, yep.
Oh, sounds good.
Good. We got good news on that. I think the rebate is going to be a little more than what we anticipated, and quite a bit more, actually. Yes, you're right.
So that's good news.
Yep.
So.
Good.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, approval of the minutes of March 13th and also March 14th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for March 13th and 14th, 2019.
I will second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the claims for payment for March 20th, 2019.
I'll move to approve claims for payment.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Utility permits and secondary roads.
No permits, but we did have a letting yesterday on those two railroad bridges that are going to become a trail. Gerke here in Eldora was the low bidder at $569,000 and change. There were 5 bidders. Your highest one was 2 times higher than Gerke. So they're all higher than our estimate, but the fact that we had 6 bidders and one's that much lower and it's local.
Good.
We figure that's what we'll recommend when we get the contract ready from the DOT.
Okay.
You said on the 2 bridges?
Yes, this is for both of them.
Okay.
All right. Okay, resolution opposing Senate Bill 1045 and Senate File 184, passed by the Senate Committee on Transportation. This is raising some load limits.
Yes, so Renee attended ISAC last week and heard a little bit about this, but all the county engineers are getting together and opposing this. Essentially, it would give the DOT permission to allow forestry industry to go up to 130,000 pounds on any road, regardless of our opinion. The state would give the approval. None of our bridges are rated for that, so we'd have to go out and pay for them to all be inspected for this. We'd have 10 times more signs out there restricting our loads on bridges already. And if you don't get to them, this kind of says how we wouldn't be surprised if bridges collapse, because our bridges are not meant for that. So this is just kind of our opinion to the state that they need to not push this bill through, because we want to have control over our roads. We don't want the state telling us how to take care of our own stuff.
Exactly. I agree. And this is only for forestry at this point in time. However, once they approve, once that would get approved, it would snowball.
Correct.
And it would be anything and everything.
Wonder why the forestry is any different than them. They
Right.
get their own bill. Yep.
Yep, right. Okay, so do we have a motion on the resolution?
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution opposing the Senate Study Bill 1045 and Senate File 184.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? Nancy, roll call, please.
BJ,
Aye.
Lance,
Aye.
Renee.
Aye. Change of status, Secondary Roads Department.
Yes. So, this is for one of our part-time employees. We opened up a position for full-time. I talked to Mike Galloway, our HR, about how to go about that, and he said it's an internal transfer. I talked to Jessica, and she said, you know, we'll post on our board, because that's the practice in the past. So it's been posted on the board for 10 days. He's the only one that applied, so we're making our part-time guy full-time.
Okay.
I'll make a motion approving the change of status for Dale Schwark, promoting him to full-time at a rate of $17.25 an hour, effective March 25th, 2019.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Change of status, Conservation.
Yes, we've hired a new natural resource manager, Kit Paper. He's already started, and getting him settled into the position right now. We're starting him at $43,000.
I have a motion on the change.
I'll make a motion to approve the change of status for Kit Paper, Conservation Natural Resource Manager, $20.68 an hour, starting 3/14 of 2019. It's a full-time hire.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comments. Yes, Nick. Sure.
Please forgive me because I've been up all night and I got some chicken scratching.
No problem.
Okay, I was a little bit disgusted watching last week's meeting. As far as the roadside vegetation budget goes, she started out with a program that didn't have much of anything. And you guys did approve money for the budget. And it seemed like a lot of people was barking on her for that. And there's going to be some corrections according to the date. But something that $50,000 was an expense, and we did not gain anything from that value. And I've heard very, very few people say anything about the waste of that $50,000. I think.
Excuse me, Nick, which 50,000?
Settlement.
Oh,
So.
I thought you meant in the budget.
So I think this vegetation issue needs to be sat down, talked about, and it needs to be cleared up, because it's kind of an embarrassment for everyone here in Hardin County. Not the department, just the way it's handled. There's a lot of people who would like to turn it over to secondary roads. I believe it was created because secondary roads couldn't keep up with it. And what I mean by that is B Avenue, my road, plus several other roads are having issues. It took 3 seasons or 3 years for secondary roads to dig out the ditches. The first 2 years, our workers did it, the county did it. The 3rd year, they contracted it done by Sheldales of Radcliffe. I was also told that they didn't have the proper permits and insurance papers to do this. So with people who want to throw roadside vegetation back on the county or secondary roads, I don't think that's feasible if they cannot dig out the ditches and do the work on B Avenue without hiring extra help. Level B has been a mess for several years. I wish you guys would drive out and take a look at it. BJ, I know you're under constant scrutiny about your mileage and your budget. Do me a favor. I don't know if you got a wife or kids or whatever. I think you got a nice car, a Camaro.
Mm-hmm.
Please load that up and take it down the road.
Okay.
See how far you get. I got to deal with that every day. Right now I'm working with replacing the wiring in the lights on my vehicle because I bought them out. This is absolutely ridiculous for a taxpayer to have to pay for a road that you have trouble getting down. As far as I'm concerned with the condition of the road, I think the grader should have been out this last weekend. Whether you got to pay overtime or not, that's absolutely ridiculous.
They were out.
They were out.
They were out both days, yeah.
B's
Only
getting,
in the mornings.
B is absolutely terrible. And you tell me, do I need to call each time it needs to be done, or do you guys have people come out?
He knows it needs done, but he's got 80 miles to do.
I understand.
so
I'm trying to
It's
be,
hard to-
I'm trying to be
I know.
decent here.
I know.
Right at the moment, there's a lot of roads that need work, and they just can't keep up because of the weather.
But I also need to get home to do my chores too. So.
So does everybody else.
Yep.
And it's not just Hardin County.
It's the state.
Now, with that being said, I had questioned Summit Farms filling in the ruts with, and you gave me a nice opinion what you thought, that it should not be done because it disrupts the gravel. There's been a lot of feed trucks that's been stuck on the roads, and four-wheel drive John Deere tractors pulling them through both directions.
And I'm not saying they can't, they should just ask us for permission. It's just a permit.
And so by that action, it totally destroys that road. I think that that should be prohibited. I don't know the answer to the fix. And then you guys had down 5 ton per axle weight limits. A semi that has 5 axles at 5 ton is 25 ton, 50,000. If you got a feed truck that weighs 28,000, you're damn near up to 80 now. So I don't know the purpose of that. I think it should have been dropped down much lower.
That's just the resolution.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Taylor.
Yeah, that resolution, 5 tons, that's all I had the power to do.
But-
If
but
you guys
five-
wanted to do more, we could.
But 5 tons per axle is total axle weight,
Yes, so he was right, 25 tons for a 5-axle truck, yeah.
but that doesn't get you to 80,000.
No, that'd get you
Pretty
to
close.
Well, it only gets you to
50,000
50.
pounds.
If your semi weighs 28,000 pounds empty, and you turn around and put on 25 ton of feed, you're right up there.
But you can't put on 25 ton of feet.
They do.
You can only put on up to 50,000 pounds, is what I'm saying.
So 50,000 plus a 28,000 pound.
No,
empty
total.
Total.
It's per axle.
So they're not supposed to pull a full load.
50,000's it, top.
Any other public comments? Bob,
I need to go up there.
please come to the podium.
This IRVM, I haven't been here for a long time, so I don't really know what's going on, but I believe it was secondary roads, then it was separated, and then it was brought back, and then it was separated again, I believe twice or 3 times.
They went to conservation in
It's-
between.
So
It's
my
been on its
question
own and
is-
under conservation and under secondary roads.
So we will go 2 times. When it was first decided to do, was there like a matrix to know why they're separated, and what was their accomplishment of separating it, and what the cost would be? And then when they did it and it didn't work and they brought it back, was it ever evaluated why it didn't work and why they were bringing it back? Then when they separated it again, did they have a list, did they have a matrix or something to know what they wanted to accomplish better this time, and was it met? Because it seems like this has been going on for a long time. Other counties have the RVM, and you still have it anyway when you do that, because you also get tax breaks with RVMs, right?
You get,
With different things you buy and get reimbursed.
you can apply
Grants.
for grants.
Right, so it's gotta be some good with it. I'm just wondering, is there ever an overall look to see what went wrong and what's right, and what can be done different, or what's gonna be better by bringing it to secondary roads right now? If that's the plan?
There is really no plan of change at this point in time.
Are they ever gonna have a meeting to discuss this, to figure out what to do, to make it better? I mean, if you're gonna break it up and bring it back, there must be a goal to make something better, right?
There's not a real plan to do that right at this time.
No. Okay, then why are you bringing it back to secondary roads?
There's not a plan to do that at this time.
Oh,
We're
well,
not-
I thought I've heard it mentioned to do that.
That's an
But-
option, but
But
that's,
that was my question, has this ever gone over where like there was a meeting where it could be discussed, the pros and cons, and with an open mind to look at both sides? Has this ever been thought of if it's necessary, or to make this a little bit better situation? I guess that's a no, right?
I can't answer your question. We haven't had a meeting on it.
No.
Well, if you guys ever decide to have a meeting on this, I'm sure I'd be part of it.
Okay.
And then a lot of other people would like to be part of it too.
To answer the first part of your question, it originally started with secondary roads.
Yes.
It broke away from secondary roads to have a clean budget on its own. A lot of things were hidden within the budget. We looked at these numbers. Shortly after that, we broke it back down to conservation. Conservation took it on. And then secondary roads kept the brush control on their side. Then conservation, if I recall right, Wes, it was more than you wanted to handle at conservation, so it moved back to secondary roads.
I guess where I'm confused, and I've talked to other people, but they don't understand it either, isn't it still going to cost the same regardless of whether we're with secondary roads or not secondary roads? Isn't the basic cost and necessary to remove trees from ditches and spray and stuff like that? The need's still there, right?
The need to spray and remove trees are there, yes.
And I'm trying to figure out how come it would cost different if one person did it or another. Isn't it the same process?
And I can't tell you on costs, and a lot of this happened before I was on the board. The only thing with costs, and that needs to be studied, is a standalone department, they need all their own employees. And when it's been under secondary roads or under conservation, those employees have been assigned to some of those responsibilities. I mean, they helped, I don't know if they helped spray,
Yes.
and they help remove brush rather than having additional part-time or seasonal help. I mean, that's kind of the study that would need to be done before I could make a decision.
So this whole problem is of how many people it takes to do it then?
Well, how many people and what the pay is for them and that type of thing. So it is something that
How many
needs to
people
be
are we
looked at.
talking, 1 or 2 people, or?
Well, I don't know. Currently, Megan's talking to be the 2 full-time, and she would like, is it 4 or 6
We'd like 4
part-time?
seasonals, but we haven't had anyone apply yet.
Okay, I guess where I'm confused is if you needed 4 seasonal this way, or if you merge it together, wouldn't you still need the 4? Because it's obviously a prime time when you're spraying and trimming trees and.
Well, I know Taylor's department already does some tree trimming or brush cutting and tree cutting and that type of thing. And I would like to see the departments work together on that, because Megan was talking about buying a 53-inch chainsaw. I do not want the county to own a 53-inch chainsaw when we have the equipment that Taylor has, the excavator, whatever, which is much more safe. So I think the departments need to work together,
So
and
has something
they've
been
done
worked
that.
out? So has something been worked out
No,
yet to me?
no, we need to,
And when would
that
that
needs
happen?
to.
I just
So
think
far,
I've watched-
I've had the conversation with Taylor, and I think,
And I had the conversation with Megan that
Right.
just leave the big trees for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
She knows
it's-
to make a map of the spots that she can't get this, and she'll let me know.
Well, I understand, but I'm just, from watching this for the last couple of years, I'm just kind of like confused as to how it costs more one way or the other, or I believe in working together, believe me, I think that's the great way to do things, but I just was hoping to get an answer to figure out.
I
It
don't know
seems
that
like
there
there's
is
a
an
lot
answer
of-
at this time.
And 2 things that got me last week I was curious about is this deal about, because she has to pay the lights over there now and they didn't before, and why did that take so much more money? Because she has to pay the light bill now? That the IRVM needs to pay their own lights, not secondary roads?
Which that's part of separating it. It's a
Yeah.
separate building now.
Well, it was a big deal about how much money she needed for it, but did they take it away from the road fund because they didn't need it anymore? I mean, I guess I like to see both sides of a story brought up, that yes, we did, but this was on roads, they took care of it,
Okay,
now we
okay.
moved it to here.
Okay, to answer that question with the road fund, when you look at the budget, Taylor, you now have what, how many, $2,000, $3,000 less? Where are you gonna put
For
that
that
money?
building?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna put the money?
But I think it would have been kind of nice.
Rock.
That's a drop in our bucket, so,
But-
I mean, it could be rock, it could be overtime for an employee.
I understand that, but I was just curious as to why last week it wasn't brought up. Well, yeah, because we took 2,000
I will
out here.
admit, that was, you're referring to all these comments from private citizens, it was not those 3
No,
calling either.
well, yeah, that one was. I mean, I still appreciate the fact they come up with these. I think it's good that people get involved. But I guess I kind of like to see both sides of a story sometimes when you show that you really look. If you're saying you're studying something, you should find a lot of other things. Like, I thought one that was really amazing is this conference room for $20,000 to redo it, how bad it is, and $5,000 for new furniture in here. And I personally don't see a thing wrong with this conference room, and I don't see no reason to replace all these chairs. That never seemed to get brought up, but they was worried about a whole lot of other things that I thought, you know, what's really necessary to run the department? And the only thing I heard, it was maybe a question about T-shirts. Well, I don't think T-shirts is a really big deal. Just say no, you don't get them. I mean, I just want to I just felt it should be both sides of a story said. I mean, I got a whole lot more, but I know I only have 20 minutes to talk, so.
20?
No.
That's under Bob's new rule.
I thought we were going to keep this meeting under 20 probably, but.
Well, I just felt it was necessary to say something to show kind of both sides, and I know people like to kind of sometimes show one side, but let's bring it up and show why we're justifying different things. Okay, I'll quit now.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Any other public comments? Yes, please. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to highlight a few of the exciting things we have going on at Hanson Family Hospital right now. One of the things is we are going to have a new dermatology service. It will be in the Hamilton Specialty Clinic, and that is starting April 25th. So if you are needing any dermatology, I'd be happy to answer any questions and get you connected to the right people. The second exciting thing that's happening is we've talked a lot about our Senior Life Solutions and the need for our residents and patients over the age of 65. We have filled our first track in that area, and we are going to be expanding and opening up a second track in Senior Life Solutions. So that's exciting. We've added another therapist, and they will be starting the middle of April as well. The third exciting thing we have going on is we have signed another provider, Dr. Gibson, will be joining us in the fall, and he will be based out of Iowa Falls Clinic, so a lot of exciting things and media pushes for him as well. One of the things we've talked about that's really important is communication. So not only are we putting things in the paper, the local papers, we are very active in Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, we invite you to like us. With all of these new happenings, we are pushing that information out there, how to contact us, ways that we can answer any questions or concerns you might have. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. Yes?
Who's the dermatologist?
The dermatologist, her name is Robin Westrom, and she's from Radiant Complexions.
Good.
Any questions? Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other public comments? Dave?
Julie's first.
Oh, Julie.
Just to go back to IRVM, your specialty is roadside management, vegetation, weeds, noxious weeds, invasive species. Taylor's department is road maintenance and engineering type stuff, road beds, bridges, blah, blah, blah.
Actually, Taylor's department goes from fence line to fence line.
But their basic duty.
Do you want to come up to the podium, please?
Because this will only take a second. Hers is biologically based because we have resistant weeds and invasive species and all this. They're two different things, engineering, science.
Dave, please.
Just curious if the board has decided when it will revisit the Greenbelt home care matter, or if it is looking to do that.
We don't have anything set right at this time, but there are discussions well, we discussed it at the Greenbelt Home Care meeting, possibly, other options, that type of thing. So hopefully we can get on that maybe next week sometime. Would be my plan. Wes?
Yes, has there been anything, any developments with FEMA or anything with any disaster help or anything like that for roads and stuff?
We've been declared a disaster by the governor, and wasn't the vice president in Nebraska yesterday, and Ken Sons was there, so the ball's rolling. Nobody's contacted me. I haven't heard anything about the kickoff meetings, but myself, City of Iowa Falls, Dave McDaniel, we're all keeping track of what we're doing.
Okay.
Because if we don't have it, it would be bad for our budget.
Right.
let's put it that way.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was just curious if there's been any word.
Dave did mention last night that he has some initial paperwork that has to be filed by the end of business day tomorrow. So, some.
Okay.
Are you keeping track of all added costs?
Well, I know our roads are, our park roads and stuff are really beat up. We dodged a bullet with the icebergs. We thought they were gonna take out the campground pedestals.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have, we dodged a bullet there, but our roads are, yeah, so.
Can you come up to the podium this time, please, Julie?
Given the state of emergency in Nebraska, to say that we have a state of emergency here, but we want to fill a hole in the budget, it's kind of embarrassing. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Just
Michelle?
a reminder that the property taxes are due by the end of this month. The weekend, or the last day falling on the weekend, they do have April 1st to pay with no penalty. April 2nd will be the penalty date. Just a reminder.
And why is it because of the day it falls on the weekend? Yes, okay, good.
That is right.
Jess?
I've posted it a couple times on Facebook, but I just want to remind everybody that if you had flooding and it's got near your wells, to contact my department. There's free water testing available. That water has a lot of contaminants in it. You need to get it tested. You probably should discontinue use if your well has been flooded. And if you're having issues with your septic system because of the flooding, you can call me and I can help you out.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Donna?
I have a question. Been declared a disaster. Question is, if your basement flooded and your washer dryer is in the basement, I don't have that problem, thank you. Does this disaster thing help you with that sort of thing?
Absolutely.
And are there?
Yep, the forms were posted yesterday. Sheriff McDaniel posted them. I think Micah posted them. They're good for up to $5,000 in personal property loss. And so you fill the forms out, return those, and typically somebody will come out, like an insurance adjusting type of person, check the damage, verify it, and then you're eligible for up to $5,000 in reimbursable losses when you're in the declaration area. So that's why it's important that there's the declaration also opens up the IMAC and ICAP grants to individual assistance programs for county residents. Without that declaration, disaster declaration for the county, you wouldn't be eligible for the individual assistance program at this point.
And are there any time, income,
yes,
or location limits to these things?
Yeah, so the income limits are all on there. I believe it's 200% of federal poverty level, and then there's a sliding scale of how many members are in your household. And then I don't remember the exact date. It's sometime mid-April to file the paperwork. So, but the sheriff posted all that, and I think Micah did too. So all that should be posted and available for people to print off and download the copies of that disaster individual assistance application. Yes, Bob?
Does that money have to be paid back, or is it just like you do it and it's done?
I believe it's a forgivable grant.
What?
A forgivable grant.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it's just part of, if it's part of the FEMA declaration, it's a loan, or a forgivable loan.
A federal loan.
Yeah, but it's forgivable. So all the details were in the information that Dave and Micah published.
Oh, and by the way, your news and events link didn't register.
Okay, are there, okay,
I have
any other
nothing else.
comments? Okay, that's for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh.
We're going to do the other business, or did I miss it?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I missed that other business. And I even talked to you about it.
So I went and talked with Jessica this morning, we looked up the budget, and we did realize that was it FICA, IPERS, and the insurance, for whatever reason, it had Luke and I on the family plans for it, but we're single plans, so that those three went down significantly. And then I fixed the error that I made with the part-time wages. I reduced the fuel cost, the uniform line item, which I shouldn't have put it as uniform, it should have been personal protective equipment, because that was all gonna be under there. And then I also reduced, unfortunately, we took away the adopt a roadway because with the demand for spraying, and I know Taylor and I had talked, and we both just don't have time to drive the signs and all of that, so we're gonna probably get rid of that program. So that money came out, and then I took the equipment purchases from 8,000 to 2, because there is one grant I would like to try and get through the LRTF. So now the total budget is $296,231.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. Okay, now anything else? All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.